Alright, so last time we talked about how much this teddy bear despises the old blue hair Mr. Hollywood. Well, Team Sonic, what do you have to say for yourself?
Dear SpikeChunsoft_E, we've seen what that bear of yours has been saying, and I agree. He is quite the nuisance, isn't he?
Okay, this is getting too meta. It's time for the end of Danganronpa.
That's comedy.
Well, we made it. I can finally, openly talk about why I love this game so much. So yes, if you're new here, I have made a spoiler-free video on the game, as in this video, I will be talking about the plot. And it will also include spoilers for the whole franchise, so if you don't want any of that, watch the video with Muse Banana. Now I want to preface by saying that this video will be a lot more personal than the others, as to hopefully show as to why I love this game so much. I need to talk about my relationship with the lead up and so on, because yes, I think the ending of Danganronpa V3 is perfect. It is the best Danganronpa has to offer, and a masterful way to end the franchise. But we'll get to that. Now going back through these videos, I never realized that V3 was planned all the way with Ultra Despair Girl's release. They teased the big 3 during the trailer, and I guess it was V3 since they were working on the game while the anime was airing. For me, I had thought that the Danganronpa 3 anime would be the end of the Hope's Peak Academy saga. You know, no more Junko and Oshima, Hope, Despair, that sort of thing. I thought that V3 was just gonna be Monokuma trapping some new students in a killing game. But how wrong we all were. And that leads me to an amazing thing that V3 managed to accomplish. It defies expectations. I don't know if you noticed this, but DR2 actually mimicked the first game quite a bit with its murders and culprits. However, V3 was based on the idea of lies, and they absolutely nailed it, especially after the first case. Oh boy, if you went blind into this case, it was some experience. Well, we have Kaede, the first female protagonist in a mainline game.
Yep. That's a pussy. Cheese.
But right away she makes friends with Saki over here, so from the start you're not technically alone. And Kaede takes the lead as Saki ain't too confident in his detective abilities. Now she does wonders in banding the group together, which is quite different to before with all them fighting. The other two guys never actually really commanded the group at the start, it always was left to the others. So right out of the gate the game gives you power over the group, and with that they convince the others to try the Death Road, a minigame in the first chapter, where if you complete it will show you a secret ending. And I'm trying my hardest to show you the end. Why is this so difficult? If you do get the ending like I clearly did, you see the outside world without any visuals and get thrown back, utterly baffled at their reaction. However, if you naturally can't do this mode, very understandable, the group gets angry that Kaede forced them to go through this painful trial. They are just high schoolers, they don't have any strength for this, they turn their back on her and give up escaping for now. At the same time, Monokuma also created the first motive for murder, that in 2 days time if no one had done anything, they will unleash multiple Monokumas to kill everyone. However, some words from the mysterious avocado that there may be a mastermind behind all this, which sets in motion Kaede's plan to capture the mastermind. So she and Saki both set up cameras to monitor the secret room they find in the library, where on the deadline, the mastermind should enter to make the Monokumas, and this is where they will capture them. Now the two keep watch while the most traumatizing music plays. No, seriously, this music is fear-inducing, and unusually they see a bunch of students walk downstairs. Saki and Kaede share a moment before the sensor goes off. The mastermind has opened the secret door. Saki runs off first with Kaede following, and there they see a smashed avocado. The first death came about despite Kaede's best efforts. Now while they investigate the murder, we get some seriously weird references. Oh come on, it wasn't that bad.
Let me out of here!
And wait, is that a Xenoblade X reference? Really? Xenoblade X? Okay, sure, wow, yeah, why not?
Escapes. Wow, another reference we don't get. You must be a hardcore loser.
Anyway, Kaede and Saki investigate the murder, and so begins the class trial. Also quickly, I did promise this for my part 1 video, the trial has this other feature called the scrum debate, where the students are split on a decision. Yeah sure, let's go with that. And so one side says a statement, and you gotta match the words they use, refuse, then button mash to win. I have to at least mention that at launch I played the PC version of the game, because for whatever reason, Australia console's launch was later than everyone else's. I really don't get it. They give us the European versions anyway. Well, I was so annoyed at this and got it on Steam as well. But at launch, the PC version of this game was completely busted with the controls, so these sections were really hard to do, as the buttons weren't even mapped correctly. Also, by the way, anyone else find it amusing and has the words class trial in the background? But if you time it just right...
Nice.
But anyway, the trial goes along, and we find out that... Oh my goodness! Kokichi is the murderer!
Just kidding.
No, actually, Kaede killed him.
What?
So yeah, in the craziest twist ever, you slowly reveal that Kaede was the murderer. You, the player, smashed an avocado, and through the trial it switches perspectives, as now Saki becomes the main character, and you must convince everyone that she did it, or they'll all die. And no, she's not like a crazed killer. Kaede, instead of wanting to catch the mastermind, thought to kill them, as this was the only way to truly end the killing game. If there was no mastermind, how can Monokuma even function to run a trial, right? But unfortunately, Monokuma is still alive, meaning she was wrong. She killed an innocent student. And man, this was insane playing through it. Not many games kill off the main character, but V3 loves to flip those expectations. You finally get a proactive character who wants the best for the group, but in the end, she was the one who broke first, and as such everyone reluctantly votes for her. And Monokuma does what he does best in an extremely brutal scene. Yeesh. Now replaying this game, even though I knew the twist, it actually was really cool watching Kaede's reaction to everything, looking at her sprites whenever something happened. One could say this was actually the reason that they added the whole seeing your protagonist's face, and that was just the opening case. So now you play as Saki, a person who is incredibly anxious at his ability to even be a detective, but only with Kaede's words, he is able to find the strength to go on. And go on they shall, because in chapter 2, well, the murder case was probably the weakest for me in the game. I mean, seriously, what the actual heck is a ropeway? Is that a thing you learn in American schools? Because I never heard that word come up once down here. But yeah, the second case was the Prime Minister of Japan. Yeah, sure. Killing the tennis boy during a talent show.
So divine.
Wait, was this in 2017? Now how did you predict that? So this leads me to the third case. Now in the first two games they would usually kill off two characters here, but well in V3 it was a lot more crazier, as while investigating the first death, only then does the second murder happen. And even after you leave the room, the game shows you this.
It's a lie!
God damn it, you gremlin.
Just kidding.
But no, seriously, for me, this case really hurt, as Tenko was one of my favourite characters. I know a lot of people ignored Tenko because of her initial personality, but as with most characters, the more you spend time with her, you learn so much more about her backstory, and it was heartbreaking seeing her try to be Himiko's friend and offer herself to the ritual, eventually leading to her death. I have to remind you this was my first Danganronpa main game I played, as the others I watched Let's Plays of, so that feeling of actual despair when you see your favourite dead, I will never ever forget it. I still understand why they did it, because now with Himiko's two closest people gone, she undergoes a huge shift in personality. The case even hits harder because I actually liked how goofy Korekio was. I thought, okay, this dude is so out there, there's no way he can be the killer, okay? This has gotta be some trick. But of course he was, and a serial one at that. But as usual, V3 likes to flip those expectations, and as you know, it was a crazy reveal that his sister's soul was inside him, or split personality. Now case 4, I don't have much to say, as even though it was heartbreaking finding out that Gonta was the killer, replaying the virtual world segment was really difficult, as in it took a really long time to load scenes with it. The worst parts were during the trial. Whenever they did flashbacks, it would take time to load, then show the scene, then have to load the trial again. But then we get to one of my favourite cases, for numerous reasons, with the 5th one. A body is found smushed, but we actually don't know if it's Kokichi or Kaito. Kokichi himself was turning into an interesting character, as he seemed to be based off Nagito from DR2, where they would do things to influence murders to get what they wanted. Except for Kokichi, there was a more sinister nature to his tricks, like convincing Gonta to kill someone. It plays into the aspect I like about this game, where a lot of people aren't actually on your side, like with Angie recruiting the cult members. Ever since the glue that held the group together was killed, the rest of the students had their little circles they formed here and there. And it was surprising seeing Kokichi survive for this long. Like you would think someone would want him out of the way with how he acted before. And just before this trial, he actually shows the survivors the outside world, that it is now an apocalyptic wasteland. But I'll get to that in a little bit, because here it was very odd to me personally, as before I played the game, I was actually shown the sprite of Kokichi, you know, the freaky one. And due to this, I had thought during my initial playthrough that he was the mastermind. And that, yep, this whole sprite was the proof of that. And yet during the case, when it was obviously Kaito under there, that it might actually be Kokichi dead, and yet the trial continues. It really messed up my expectations, and I honestly was so happy knowing I wasn't spoiled in the game. But in one final trick, Kokichi worked with Kaito to stage the murder in such a way that the mastermind and Monokuma wouldn't know who died. Meaning if the bear doesn't know, even when we vote, he can't punish the students because no one knows who did it. Which leads me to this amusing scene where Monokuma actually joins your party to work out who did it. I know this meant so much more to me than to others because of the voice acting.
Trust me, I'm going somewhere with this.
So Monokuma himself was actually one of my favorite characters, mostly due to his English voice acting. Brian is able to make his voice hit those high notes of a Mickey Mouse mascot, but then drop it all down in one sentence. Plus the fourth wall humor and sprites really made me love this psychotic bear. However, in Danganronpa 3, the anime, the one that ended Hope's Peak arc, well, I mentioned in my anime video, they got someone else to voice Monokuma.
Hey, what can I say? History repeats itself.
I mean, come on, that voice doesn't even suit his personality at all. Now, like I said earlier, I thought DR3 was the end, and I was so disappointed it ended in the way it did, with different voices for all my favorite characters, which then led to something interesting. During this game, in the opening few chapters, I noticed that Monokuma talked a bit more higher pitched than normal, as in it felt like the VA wasn't used to recording him after so long. It just didn't feel right.
You'll be escorted to a delightful class trial!
And throughout the game, you see Monokuma's personality change. He's tired of things, he wants to take vacations, and so on. As in, the bear wasn't feeling like himself. Now, I thought this high-pitched voice would stay, but slowly throughout the course of the game, the deep voice started to return. It seemed to peak right during this case when Monokuma joins your team. I won't lie, it really felt like an old pal had rejoined me. He was back to his usual self, and now physically wanted to help me, like an actual friend. You know, a friend that kills people. But yeah, I just love this moment so much, and I guess this is just a personal thing with this game that only someone who loves the dub as much as I do could feel. So then we have the final case. Now, as I mentioned before, my preconception of Gremlin being the mastermind was wrong. So that meant that one of these students was behind it all. And oh boy, was I not prepared for the answer. So during the last execution, Kibo's antenna gets knocked off, and he starts to act a bit different, wanting to blow up the school. As in the last case, the gang all turn on Kokichi, believing him to be the remnant of despair, after getting a flashback memory about Junko and Oshima. Yep, they remember the other Danganronpa games, and as such, V3 is now connected to them. They really can't seem to let go of the crazy blondie, eh? So in actuality, these are the students of Makoto's new Hope's Peak Academy shown in the DR3 anime's ending, but due to viruses and meteors threatening to end the world, they send kids who are immune to the virus on a spaceship to flee the destruction. Yes, this whole thing was on a ship in space. I mean, when you have a virtual world, the next course of action is of course space, sure, why not? So meaning when they opened the door to the outside, this was Earth now after the meteorites hit, meaning there is no one alive left there waiting for them to escape. However, the past killing games were made for someone to watch, so that means there had to be one person watching this killing game, right? And so in a last-ditch effort before Kibo blows up the school, as it's a symbol of despair, Saki says we'll bring out the mastermind, because they were actually the killers of Avocado, meaning that Kaede was incorrectly executed and we need a retrial. Kinda flips your expectations that all the decisions are final in this game, huh? Anyway, this trial, oh my goodness. Okay, so during the investigation, which was also very different, we find evidence that the girls' bathroom leads to the mastermind's hideout, and we find a lot of evidence there. And looking back at the testimonies, there was only one character who went to the bathroom near the time of death, and that was Samugi the cosplayer. So the gang plead with her, asking her if this is true. Just give us a reason not to suspect you. When all of a sudden,
Tsumugi, please just say something. If you don't defend yourself...
Junko and Oshima!
wait, what?
Yeah, that's gotta be it. Cause Junko and Oshima is...
Junko and Oshima is...
Cause Junko and Oshima is...
Junko and Oshima is...
Daddy, please don't get so excited! You pressed the button by accident!
Look at our cute faces! Can you really bear to be without us?
Junko and Oshima is...
Junko and Oshima is what? Okay, time for a commercial break.
Cause Junko and Oshima is... Junko and Oshima is...
Right the fuck here! Sorry to keep you waiting.
Oh no! So I'm not even joking, this whole exchange is my favorite bit of dialogue in the entire franchise. It just seems to capture everything that I love about this series. But no, don't worry, this isn't the real Junko Enoshima, it's Junko Enoshima the 53rd. Wait, why that oddly specific number? Anyway, Tsumugi as the cosplayer only wanted to emulate her actions. But wait a second, the big thing about her character is that she can only cosplay fictional characters. It was shown how she breaks out into a rash if she ever tries that, so why is she here cosplaying a real character like Junko Enoshima?
What am I doing? I'm just cosplaying.
Cosplaying?
Yeah, this is just cosplay.
But it's not just normal cosplay, because I can perfectly replicate the character.
Check it out! Even my voice sounds exactly the same.
Is Junko Enoshima also? Yes, it's my cosplay. I can perfectly reproduce a number of characters and actually become them!
This is the talent of the ultimate cosplayer.
Number of characters?
How can she cosplay as students of Hope's Peak Academy? So then, what does this mean? What? If what I said was the truth, then Hope's Peak Academy was... It's fictional. It's all fictional?
Fictional?
The biggest, most awful, most tragic event in human history never happened. Hope's Peak, the future foundation, and the remnants of despair do not exist. Because it's all fiction. None of it actually happened in the real world.
All of those events took place within a fictional world known as Danganronpa.
Danganronpa? What? What are you even talking about?
What? You've never heard of Danganronpa? We're all characters in it. That's right! Me, that nasty pig Bart, and everyone else are all fictional.
Hold on. Then, Hope's Peak Academy doesn't exist?
Nope, because it's fiction. Doesn't exist in the real world.
What?
Isn't that surprising?
No kidding, mate. This is the trippiest thing ever.
Jeez.
So the big twist of the game is that the events of the other ones are fictional. They were never real. It was all part of a game that was enjoyed by many people. Yes, this is getting extremely meta. So Danganronpa V3, well, why is it called V3 anyway? Not because the 3 was taken by the anime, but what is 5 in Roman numerals? Yes, this is Danganronpa 53, the 53rd game, meaning there are many more of these killing games in the series that are works of fiction to entertain people. And what kind of people? Well, these ones! So yes, everything in this game was fake, as it's shown later that all these characters are actually just people who auditioned for a role in the popular game.
I'm not just gonna be in Danganronpa. I'm gonna kill everybody and win! Once I've got fame and fortune, I don't gotta worry about what's impossible.
So think of it like this. There's the Hope's Peak Academy arc as a fictional piece of work. This V3 cast are also fictional in this world and were made in such a way that they adore the franchise and want to be a part of the killing game, and so they audition for it. Now there's the outside world, the one where people enjoy the killing games, i.e. the player. And by revealing this all, that it's all fiction to these characters, it breaks that link. They are now aware of the players outside, people who have enjoyed watching them kill each other. So yeah, this ending was very divisive in the fandom. I mean, just look at the reviews after the game came out, to even the comments I got on my last few videos. People were under the impression that this game just gave them a big middle finger saying, lol, you enjoyed something that didn't matter, it's all fake, all that love you put into the characters, the world, the lore, it's all for nothing. Me, however, and a few others absolutely loved this ending, and I'll try my best to explain things and leave some links down below, but my understanding of Danganronpa is that it's a franchise that loves to break these expectations, and the whole game was doing this. So while yes, them being on a spaceship could have been the finale, but I think that they wanted to take this thing a crazy further step in the fiction reveal. For me, Danganronpa was always that series that would do fourth wall breaks, talking to the player, and so on. It's why I kinda didn't see any problem with the ending at first. It fit everything the series would do, and it seemed like something Danganronpa would pull off. Now that was my initial reaction, but after replaying the game and looking at interviews and so on, there's so much more to this. Of course, you must be thinking, why oh why would Kodaka write this ending, which would anger so many people, when in actuality he knew that this would be the reaction, but still he wanted to push forward and try something unexpected. They want the games to make you feel some sort of reaction, and they are proud that people still keep debating this game because not many people would do this kind of thing. He also states that the outside world shown in this game, well, that's not actually our world, it's a parallel world that enjoys Danganronpa. He even jokes how it's popular over there but not over here. Now whether Kodaka was saying that only after fan reaction, I cannot say. But after my time with this series, I can't help but feel that V3 was something he wanted to do. Even looking back to Ultra Despair Girls when this game was teased, you have lines like this.
This game's rules are managed way too loosely.
You're wrong! This isn't a game! I mean, people are dying! Yuta, he died, you know? To call what happened to him a game?
But I get why you think this is all just fiction. Crazy kids are killing adults, you know?
It was not an FU to longtime fans. This is a creator who wanted to try something different and just really wanted to write a fiction versus reality ending. Then there's the other side to this, where people say the ending is there to criticize the culture around looking at these killing games as entertainment, and just that, ignoring how much of these works of fiction can impact lives. I think Kodaka wanted people to understand that these games aren't just, wow, this killing game is so fun to play. No, these games are pieces of fiction that can tell stories that may impact lives. And I know Danganronpa has impacted so many people I've met online. You even have Shuichi, the character who grew the most throughout the game. All started with the death of Kaede, now being told that this was all just entertainment, and as such the ending involves him rejecting that idea, that this is just a world made to enjoy suffering as entertainment. Tsumugi, as the insert writer character of the game, felt so smug that she came up with a brilliant ending, and all the gang had to do was just vote for the killer. Through Shuichi's resolve, they abstained from voting, no one voting for a killer for the first time, and after a little minigame,
no way fiction can change the world! Lol.
This ending breaks the cycle of fictional games, as the audience in that world grow bored that they didn't get the ending they wanted, and Danganronpa itself is cancelled. Kibo then destroys a school, killing Tsumugi and Monokuma, where Shuichi, Maki and Himiko are left looking to the outside world. Now I want to make this clear. If you enjoy the games with a killing mystery, that is perfectly fine. I don't think Kodaka and his team were trying to attack anyone. From all the interviews, it really does seem like it was just a creative decision to try something that defied the expectations of what a Danganronpa game is. As someone who's a creative themselves, I can understand where they're coming from. They wanted to make something memorable, something that could be discussed and argued upon for many years, and I can see they sure did that. Also, I can understand the other side of the argument to this. V3 itself was shaping up to be one of the best games ever, and with so much content. Fans were loving everything about it, but then the ending ruined it for them. They hated everything about the series, never wanting to talk or interact with it again, and that's perfectly fine if you feel that. I'm not trying to change anyone's views on the game. I just hope with this you can maybe understand at least why they did it, and maybe they were just addressing a specific set of fans that only find these killing games as entertainment. They couldn't get anything more from the characters' personalities and the themes of the games and so on. And so this ending doesn't invalidate the feelings and love for the franchise you had to this point. The game makes you feel something. Don't let that feeling go. Fiction is amazing in that it's able to create these emotions like this. Now then, enough of that philosophical rambling, time for some other little tidbits. And I did mention in the other video, but the voice acting of V3, or Bravo. Not just the performances, but how they managed to get every single VA back for their voices in that scene. If you know me by now, this was an amazing experience, especially after that anime. I got to hear my favorite characters' proper voices one last time in a crazy reveal. Although I will say, Hajime, why did you sound so different? I mean, come on, Johnny boy, did voicing Avocado Man really make you forget how Hajime sounded like?
My name is Hajime Hinata.
This leads me to the next thing, which I know was only in the English dub and not in the Japanese voice work, but every single one of the students, they were voiced by someone who voiced a character in the series beforehand, and this had to have been on purpose, because you now have the voice of the detective in the first game now voicing the protagonist, and the detective and mastermind in this game, well, they actually are the two dead characters from the first trial. Yes, it was Sayaka and Leon battling once more, and I have to think this was intentional, but yeah, I really love the voice acting in this game. I still kinda hope we could have a look at some point at the recording booth for this game, because I'm really dying to know how the VAs reacted to these lines in the last chapter. Then to other things, and firstly, did you know that the Sayaka pop image is the stained glass window behind Monokuma, and that all the returning characters have V3 in their eyeballs? The more you know. But yeah, anyway, I guess this means this is the end of Danganronpa. It's cancelled. No one likes it anymore. Or is it? Danganronpa, although Kodaka doesn't think it, is the most popular hybrid visual novel brand, and they still market it to death. Still in 2020, we are getting new merch for the franchise. They are not gonna let their biggest cash cow end. Now, as of 2020, Kodaka and his fellows have left to make a new company with Zero Escape and Somnium creator Uchikoshi.
Enoshima?
Who's that?
Unknown, but I hope we will find out.
And they have numerous things planned for release. Like seriously, so many games were already announced. But don't worry, there's no bad blood or anything. One of them is even a collab with Spike Chunsoft. But I want to draw your attention to a sort of rival series being Ace Attorney, a hybrid visual novel series about solving murders. Its creator left the main games after the fourth one, but Capcom have still made 2 more after that without him. All I'm saying is that the signs, they point to more Danganronpa games coming out. And with 2020 being the 10th anniversary of the franchise, and it could range from a simple commercial to a dancing spin-off fighting game. Who can tell? Knowing Japan is probably going to be some weird concert thing. But I'm saying beyond this, I don't think this is the last we'll see of the Killing games. Even if Kodaka doesn't seem like he wants to come back, I have a feeling that more of these will get made at some point in the future. Monokuma wants the money, okay?
As long as the world wants killing games, Danganronpa will not end!
So then that was Danganronpa V3, and I just want to say, what a ride. I still remember pre-ordering this game on PS4, then realizing they delayed it in Australia, so scrambling to buy it at launch on Steam, then realizing it was poorly optimized and wouldn't work on my PC, so I had to find an older laptop with a jank setup, and taking a week off work to beat this whole thing in 3 days, and as I sat there starving, letting the ending wash over me, then checking the reactions on the subreddit, then the memes. I mean, most of you know that I did the fandom videos, and I only made them because of this game. Yes, the sole reason I made that series of videos was my huge urge to talk about the amazing memes of the game in a spoiler video. And those videos were so influential in kickstarting my channel, getting noticed by you wonderful viewers. So yes, I am very grateful to this game. I will never forget how much it meant to me. Even in a year of other great games, I always had this little gem in my back pocket. This is one of my favorite games ever. The way they built up and knocked over expectations, the characters, the world, the ending, finishing off an amazing franchise that will always hold dear to my heart. Thank you, Danganronpa V3.
Shuichi, will you do it with me? I would like that more than anything.
Huh?
Just kidding! Just kidding!
Trojan, Ramses, Magnum, Sheik!